Tony Stewart decides to pay $1 million. Now, this is something out of fantasy land. It's not real, right? Us racers, listen, I ate bologna and brown swagger and cheese and mayonnaise, and my brother Rusty'd say, go in there and make us some sandwiches. And we all grew up with, smelling like grease, and we couldn't fathom $1 million. But my friend, Logan, look at you. You go to Eldora. Tony Stewart says, I'm going to pay $1 million. And you win. You win $1 million. We'll get to the race in a minute, but what is it like to win $1 million? Have you got the check? Tell me about all this.
I was going to say, I don't, people keep asking, what's that like? But, I guess until the money hits your bank account or however that works, it's hard to say because I don't feel any different. We have the, we know the magnitude of the race and, how big it was. We haven't actually got a check or anything like that yet. So that part hasn't hit home yet. But to just the, a race that's been building up since PRI that we've talked about, we thought, there's rumors flying that, a racetrack's going to pay $1 million to win. It wasn't really sure which racetrack for a minute. And, we all thought it was probably going to be Eldora. There's a few other ones talking about it, but Tony and his team, Tony, he loves sprint cars. He's going to want to, put that type of money out there for, have a big paying, sprint car race. So it's something that's been building since PRI when it was announced. But, trying to focus on your year and all the other races that we have going on. We have a lot of big races this year. We raced for $250,000 a few weeks ago at Houston Speedway. Todd Queering and his group are doing a lot for sprint car racing, growing the sport, that facility and others with Jackson. But we have a lot of big races this year, and it just keeps growing. But that $1 million to win is something that's kind of been in the back of everybody's head all year. And, I knew we would have a great shot at it. Eldora has been good to me. I think we've won 5 or 6 races there now. And we won there in May. So I knew that we would, coming back in July, we were going to have a great shot at it. But to go out and actually do it and put it all together and just have the 2 days that we had to make it happen was unbelievable.
So there are a lot of racetracks that you and I race at. There's a scoreboard somewhere and, you got your stick man or you kind of know what's up. And let's be clear, you were dominant. You had no competition. I mean, obviously your ability is unbelievable and you got to hit your marks. You were riding high. You were not afraid to die. Can he do it? Jack Hewitt. I mean, down there in turn 1, you were headed to the wall, turning it every lap. I was scared for you. So tell me about those last 5 laps. Could you see how many laps there were left? I think the last corner, you might have gave yourself a little more room. I don't know, but I was watching every lap. I'm like, he ain't going to chance this last corner. Tell me about those last 5 laps.
So I'd say more. I'd take you back a little bit, probably about 15 to go. I'd say
good. Yes.
The first 20 laps went by really quick, and so we had a break there at 20 laps in.
Oh.
30 laps to go. We fueled the cars back up, and we had some drama right there. So we had, guys were changing gears, rear ends all full of grease. Bringing the jack out on the racetrack, and for people that don't know Eldora, it's got a lot of banking to it, and the car actually fell off the jack stand during the
world saw it.
Yeah. But the guys did a great job. They stayed very calm. Everybody stayed very calm. Picked the car back up, put it on the jack stand, got the fuel in it, and got back going again. But to take you back to 15 laps to go, I'd say more around then, when you're leading a race like that, especially once you start to get to that point and knowing it has to get sort of close to the end, I was just waiting to see the white flag. Probably about 15 laps to go, thinking, man, they got to throw it sometime soon.
Yeah, it just lasts forever.
Yeah, it feels like forever. But right around then, I thought maybe you can glance at the scoreboard because you can see Eldora's scoreboard going down the front stretch. You can look into turn 2 and see the scoreboard. But I sort of did that real quick, and I felt like it took my focus off what I was doing and where I needed to hit my marks. And I told myself right then, I thought, maybe it's, and I actually didn't see how many laps were to go. I didn't find the scoreboard as quick as I needed to, but I thought, I work out every day, try to be the best in shape that I can. I know I have a great car. We're in a good spot. If I just put my head down, run the best laps that I can run, it's going to be very hard for somebody to catch us. So I just tried to run that car as hard as I could, the best I could, and stay focused until I saw a checkered flag. And I didn't see a 2 to go, but I did see the white flag. And I had no trouble getting around the lap cars before that. I felt like when I got to them, they didn't really slow up my momentum at all. I was able to get to their rear bumper, make a move on them in the next corner to where it didn't really slow down my momentum. But when I got the white flag, there was 2 lap cars in front of me, and they're both running my line, both right in front of me. And that night, the high line at Eldora was definitely the fastest way to go. And I didn't want to peel off and slide them or drive through the bottom of the racetrack because I didn't know how close somebody was behind us. Like you said, we don't have people throwing up signs to us or somebody in our ear saying, hey, you have a 3-second lead, which we had. So I didn't know if Carson or whoever was.
So let me ask you right there: are there no sticks in World of Outlaw sprint car racing? You get no signals?
No, I don't believe we're actually allowed to.
Yeah, illegal for you guys. Okay.
Yeah, it's illegal. But I don't know if you could actually see them, even if you were. We're going so fast, but
with the wing, yeah.
Yeah, you're carrying a lot of speed. And like I said, just to even look at the scoreboard, that big, gigantic scoreboard, I felt like it was taking my focus away too much. So, but I followed both those guys into the corner. And for people that don't know sprint car racing, when you have that big, 5x5 wing on top of there, it's creating a lot of downforce. And when you get behind somebody, what they call dirty air, it takes all that downforce off your wing. It actually almost feels like it's picking the left rear of the car up off the ground, and that's why when I followed the car into the corner, it didn't want to turn. It was getting tight. It was trying to get into the wall, and I had to jam on the brakes and get the car to turn left, down back across the racetrack in 1 and 2.
Is that when you did tag the wall a little bit going into 1, didn't you? Or not?
I got tight in the cushion, whether it was the wall.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely. It was a scary scenario, and it was more
Right.
uncomfortable than what I wanted to be. But I was able to drive down across the racetrack. I don't know if I passed one of the 2 cars, but I told myself going into 3 and 4 that I was taking a conservative role. I was driving across the racetrack, and if somebody
good job.
yeah, if somebody was close to me, they were going to have to drive around the outside of me, which would have been a pretty tough task in itself. So I took the safe route, went through the middle of the racetrack, and was able to see the checkered flag at that moment.
This reminds me of the Chili Bowl. You know where I'm going with this. About 3 years ago, Kyle Larson's leading the race. He's got to put his left front on the berm every lap. That's the only grip there, and he's got Christopher Bell breathing down his neck. And I really admired Kyle Larson after the race because at that time it was like the only race he wanted to win. It was almost as big as any NASCAR race, and he admitted in his interview after the Chili Bowl that he looked up at the big screen and lost his focus going into 1. So I think any young kid listening to you right now, I've been there before too, where you try to take a little shortcut. You're like, how many to go? Oh, you catch yourself messing up, and you're like, that's not the way to do it. And I really appreciate you telling that story because I know a lot of race car drivers are listening to you right now.